group, and basically played out exactly how I expected. We had, I believe, 3 of the Japanese runners that I knew had run around like 207, and then Zach Ganning, who I knew was going to join up that group. So yeah, I just went out with them and just tried to stay relaxed as possible. It was a little chaotic the first 10K because we had the 2 women up there, and it was just like, it was very loud. I wasn't expecting it to be that crazy the first 10K. So I was just trying to remain calm, and then after that, I calmed down a little bit, and then yeah, we're just running faster than, we were on about 206.40 pace, which, my PR was 209.50, so it was fast. And then around mile 16, it felt pretty hard, so I was like, all right, just like, you don't need to like crush it, just kind of maintain, or I was slowing down, but like maintain a not terribly slow pace. And then I just try to stay within myself until the last 2 miles, and then try to close back down.
When I saw Ruth Jetney-Gedich, the women there, I just wrote insane. May I ask what your thoughts were?
Exactly the same.
Okay.
But I mean, she looked great when I looked at her. I was like, wow, like, I know we're running under 207 pace, but she looks great.
And how did you feel throughout the race? I mean, did you have any rough patches with the things you just kind of
yeah, in the first like 15 miles, I'd have like, every once in a while I'd feel like, oh, this doesn't feel great, but then I'd settle into a rhythm and feel good again. Like overall, I felt within reason, not necessarily comfortable because we were running quick, but also I knew I was still somewhat within myself. And then again, like right around like 16 or so, it was realistic. I'm like, I'm not going to keep holding 450 pace, but I can still run pretty well if I just back off a little bit and just, kind of maintain right around like 455, 5-minute pace, and then see what I can do at the end.
Thank you.
CJ, how did your body respond to a course that was so flat? I know that you're good on a hilly course, but what was it like just with that same pace the whole way, the same terrain the whole way?
I mean, in some ways it's nice because you don't have those slow miles of the uphill miles, but then also you just get no breaks. Like, our course like Boston, there's so many downhills, you can just get breaks in the race. And in this, the whole first 16 miles we're running at 450 pace or even a touch under, and there's just no break. And for me, like, that's like right on my line of like, if I push any faster, like it's not gonna work. So it's just like you're just uncomfortable kind of the whole time, and again, yeah, you don't get like any breathers or any little 30-second timer reset. It's just you just gotta stay on it. So it was definitely hard. I was like, oh, this is fast running. This is a flat marathon is just as hard as a hilly marathon. They're just different, I guess.
Did you say anything to Zach Panning when you passed him? You've kind of seen that before.
No. There was like, 1.2 miles maybe, or maybe 1.5 miles left, and at that point I'm like, there's decent money if I beat him, so I tried to stay as far away from him as I could and get by him as fast as possible. If it was early on in the race, maybe, but at that point, no, it was like, I'm just hoping he doesn't see me, I'm hoping he does not go with me. Just get by him as fast as possible, hide my face and just go.
CJ, you have a fantastic finish. You had the fastest last couple miles at the Olympic trials. What's your secret sauce with your finishes?
I think part of it is when I'm in those rough patches, like from 16 to 24, I maybe run a little bit conservative, and I don't know if conservative is the right word, but I don't necessarily push to like stick on a guy. Like I have to stay with this group, or I have to stay on this guy in battles. Like sometimes I do if I feel like I can, but I also will let guys kind of go and just run kind of what I feel is like not easy, but what I feel is manageable, and then I can come back and close at the end. And so at some point, those miles have to be faster. So I would like to, be able to, like today, if I could have ran 16 to 24, 5 seconds a mile faster, then I run, 2:07:30 or something. That wouldn't have got me anything. So I kind of just ran the race to achieve the best things possible. We really couldn't see anybody up the road. Like literally no one was coming back. And I think 6th place was like 2:07 low. So for me to do the best, it was like I kind of just had to beat the guy that I was running with and then also catch Zach. And so mentally, I just did enough to kind of manage myself and be able to have something to close the last 2 miles. And then the second part of it is in training, I do pretty hard long runs, and usually the last 2 miles I mentally always try to pick it up. And in training, since I'm not pushing quite as hard, I usually run the last mile of a long run under 4:40. So I didn't do that today. My watch was 4:47, but I do that almost every week. The last 2 miles are hard, last mile is fastest, and so in my head, I always know when I get to 2 miles to go and then a mile to go, like I've done this like 50 times in my life, like I can do it again.
Can you just talk a little bit about your life? You teach and like you have small kids, and can you just how you fit everything in?
I don't know. I teach and coach at a community college. I have a wife and a almost 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Some days it doesn't necessarily go well. I'm tired a lot, and sometimes it just feels like this is impossible. It just feels like I'm just like barely getting through the day, and I just try to get to the next day. But then other times it's pretty good too. So you just kind of take it a day at a time and just try to rest, and also I feel like not every day has to feel great. So I've just gotten used to probably at least 3 to 4 days of the week are just gonna be, I'm just gonna be kind of a zombie, and I'm gonna be functional, I'm a functional zombie. So I'm gonna get everything done in life, I'm gonna fulfill all my responsibilities, but I'm literally there's not a whole lot going on. I'm very low energy, just getting through it. And then on my workout days when I have some caffeine, I'm usually a little bit more, but it's just like accepting that when I'm in heavy marathon training, at least half of those days are going to be very
CJ, do you have a caffeinated drink or breakfast?
No, I just have a caffeine pill because it's reliable. It's the exact amount every time. Coffee or whatever, you might have a little stomach issues. So.
Okay, Darren.
You've run some pretty challenging marathons. We were talking about Cal International the other day. It's kind of rolling, and then Boston, obviously, with all the downhill. How are you feeling after running Chicago?
It's like 2 hours after, so I don't really know. I feel decent right now. I'm running New York, so I might do like a light shakeout this afternoon. I know people laugh, but you feel better. I usually feel better if I double after a long run. There's also a sauna in here. So I might go to the sauna, so that's cool. I guess I can't really answer that right now because I ran pretty well, so you have a lot of good feelings, so you typically feel pretty good. But I think more tomorrow, we'll see how I feel.
What's your regimen after, because you're rather prolific. In this era, you're probably the American who runs the most marathons. I go back to thinking about Dick Beardsley back in the 80s, and Doug Curtis, because they would run almost marathons one a month. Do you have a regimen for the first week or two after a marathon?
No, if it's going to be the end of my season, then I'll probably take it off or just run when I feel like it. Since I have New York in 3 weeks, I'm kind of just gonna, mentally, this was just a really, really great long run. And so I'm gonna just continue on with an easy run tomorrow. normally I work out on Tuesday. I'll see how I feel with travel and everything. I probably won't do a workout. I might push it back to Wednesday or even Thursday. But yeah, I mean, mentally and physically, like, now that the race is over, it's like, okay, that was just a long run. But yeah, to answer your question, every race is different. It just
Sure.
depends on what I have next.
Okay, thank you. Will New York be the last one for the year?
I don't know.
How does the result and the way the race went today affect your goals and mindset for New York?
When I had talked about Chicago and New York, I said it'd be cool if I was top American at all three. So, because I was top American in Boston, so I have two now. So, New York's probably going to be the toughest. I mean, that field is good, and the guys that are running it are very fit, so it's going to be hard. But yeah, I mean, it at least keeps that dream alive. So.
Okay, we've got time for one more question. Anybody have one? Okay, then we'll say thank you to CJ and see you in New York. Congratulations.
Yeah.